It doesn't often happen, and not in the Milwaukee area, but, well, they used to, yes. But, it's not often today. They do have a deaf judge. But they do have an appeal judge. But he's more like a hearing-based judge. Right, hard of hearing, not fully deaf. So, and he does use real-time captioning in his courtroom. But there was this one case that was related to a prisoner in a courtroom where his hands were handcuffed. And he couldn't be handcuffed because he wasn't able to talk to the judge. He wanted to talk to the lawyer and respond and wanted to discuss what was happening in the courtroom. So when he first asked to be unhandcuffed, the judge said no. And then they got it appealed, and it went back to that judge. And he still agreed with being handcuffed. Like, really? No, that's hearing. It's a hearing culture. For a short time, I think it was about 1989, 1990. 99. And for a few years, the drug was really strict. But now they become more flexible with uncuffing deaf consumers.
Most of the judges are allowing and being more flexible to letting the handcuffs go, but it's still hard to get them to agree with that.
You know, how can they communicate when their hands are handcuffed? I mean, it's impossible. I have to do what I have to do. Can you guys think of any other situations with legal interpreting?
Adoption.
Alright. Now we'll throw up on the screen a list of situations in legal interpreting. It's not a complete list, but just a few things. Money, appeals. Emergency detention. Let me think. Could be either two different situations. When they take kids away from parents, they must have a limit of 72 hours. The law says that. Or they'll arrest the kid if he's under the age of 18. Due process hearings. That's more if the school is not providing appropriate services. Is it hard to see me a little bit? Sorry. And then parents will file a complaint, and that will lead to a legal process. Okay. Psychological evaluations. often a court will request for a client to get evaluated to see how much they can respond and understand. It's a court system process. So the lawyer, health lawyer. They're really strict about understanding the process. If you don't understand the process, then you have to go meet some counselor or psychologist. It's a type of court process you have to understand. That's what the meaning of that is. And sometimes it's called, when a person is not competent, they can send that consumer to a mental hospital. And then they'll stay there until they become competent. Mental health hospital. Do you have something to say?
Have you experienced have you been involved with a specific case where they were involved that you just don't agree with something that had happened? Like, you know, that TP or were they taking the kids? Is there something where you just disagree and you feel like you need to step back out of that situation?
Me as an interpreter, my feelings, I can't be involved with a situation. I need to stay neutral. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Or a situation that I can't stay neutral?
Yep.
No, I haven't experienced that yet. Not ready to leave a situation, but I often see situations that I just am disgusted by. So that means you work in legal situations, you need to have something that helps you not have an opinion. Or when I drive, I listen to music and take my mind off of it afterwards. And
Well, learning.
Situation where I have to leave. Oh yeah, I remember. With a sex offender. There was a group of people. A group of sex offenders. When they were molesting young children. I couldn't handle it. It's just sick people. I mean. You know, you should collect those people and put them on boats, ship them off, you know, feed them the sharks. You need to learn how to cope in legal situations. You just need to try to stop thinking and, you know, be open-minded and just think that I'm in a normal world. You know, push aside my feelings and focus on the situation, and I'm there for the consumer. Part of the curriculum is that you need to think about what actually happens. So after that situation, I go home and see my kids, and it makes me sick. Can't think about it. And just have to get out of that situation sometimes. It's just too sick. PSI. Any of you know what that means? I think it's pre-sex offender. multi-sentence investigation, sorry, interpreter here. Which is PSI.
It's where they have different court cases, and they keep going. The same person has the same court cases, and they keep going. It's right before the judge decides their ruling, and they have to say they're sorry or they're guilty. And it helps.
And then that will help the judge make the punishment for that consumer. Typically for PSI, is where they conduct interviews, ask questions about school. Do you have any addictions, bad habits, sex habits? How many times have you been in jail? Different things. Sorry for what you did. If you just say, sorry, I'm sorry for what I did, they expect you to explain more. That's key. That all these situations need to see interpreted. And I'll explain more of that later. Counseling. Counseling could be related to relationships. Related to DUI, that will be a situation where counseling will be needed. Or maybe they'll sit down and talk about a bad addiction or a serious problem.